Well, folks, what I see is a lot of people try to pull up to markers and just try to throw the cast net, try to catch bait. We call that rodeoing bait. And you can do it, don't get me wrong. There's days that we can just go in, throw the net, and be done. But most of the time, I've found that I have to chum, especially to get the scaled sardine, aka white bait. So chumming is key for me. I have to chum, especially if I'm trying to catch that white bait. The chum actually disperses the thread fins. If I'm trying to catch mainly thread fins, then I'll just come up to the marker and throw on it, because a lot of times the thread fins are on top. As you start to chum, it starts to spread out those thread fins and bring in the white bait. So if you're looking for white bait, I highly recommend to chum. Use tropical fish food, Purina, 33%. If you don't have a feed store near you that sells it, we have it on our website. We ship it directly to your door. It costs a little bit more, but if you don't have the ability to be able to get it, then it works out very, very well for us to ship it directly to you. So I just mix it with a little bit of water and start chumming. Right now the tide is barely coming in and those bait fish are right up on the surface. So I'm going to go ahead and get ready to throw. And boom, just like that, I can already see him flashing in the net. And I can feel him hit the net, so I know that the net is loaded with bait. I let it sink all the way to the bottom, and then I pull it up. And when I grunt like that, that means I've got a bunch. And I love using the boat to be able to use as an advantage to be able to pull it up. And I'm done. And that's it, folks. I got a mixture of thread fins and white bait, but it's mostly white bait. So what I'll do is I'll dump this in there, and whatever's left on the floor, I'll put it in the bucket. Alright folks, I'm fishing in the bay today. Just wanted to get out just for a little bit. I had to get some shots of the boat and stuff like that for a new intro, because we have some new sponsors coming on board. But what I wanted to show you is this new side imaging from Humminbird with the Apex. As you can see how detailed it is right in here. This is a 1080 our 1920 by 1080 HD resolution, and I've got to tell you that I am so impressed with this. It's got so much more resolution than my old one. Even though my old one was really, really good, this one has got unbelievable definition to it. What I've got, I just got the Ethernet cable, so I need to network these two together. But as you can see just how detailed everything is, and it's just crazy unbelievable. Seeing just like that, I'm picking up bait, I'm picking up baits over here, picking up the edge of the ledge. So this is telling me that this is where I want to, there's bait fish getting chased on top of the water. So this is definitely where I want to set up. But you can see, look at the definition there. So I'm riding on the upside of the channel. I'm always wanting to look down, so that's very important. If you've watched our shows before, we talk about how you want to be able to look down into the channel and not try to look up, because if you're trying to look up, you'll never see it. Now, I don't know if I want to fish in this particular spot because there's a ton of weeds everywhere. You can see the bait fish right here. That's on the edge of the ledge, edge of the channel. So I'm going to get a little bit out of this grass because it's pretty thick right here. tide looks like it's barely coming in, which it's supposed to. There's some individual rocks to the right side of the ledge, so I don't have those marked. So I'll mark that. You can see how detailed that almost looks like a tire right there. That's how detailed this thing is. That's just crazy. See, this is what I mean. I'm out in the middle of the channel now and you can see this ledge. So I'm gonna mark it there. Move it over just a little bit with the joystick. Mark, mark. And then what I'll do is I'll hit the end of it. Mark, mark. What I'll do is I'll come back to it. I'll go to this GPS unit. Those two waypoints marked. I know my heading's probably gonna be east, but I'm not sure because I haven't set up yet, but the wind and tide are going against each other, so even with the trolling motor it makes it somewhat difficult to do. So what I'll do is I'll zoom in on those 2 points. So what I want to do is make sure that I probably get closer to the 72 spot than I do the farther spot, because the tide is coming in, so I'm going to work the ledge down towards the end of the ledge. But I want to see what I mark. It's going to be nice when I have these machines synced up together to when there I don't have to worry about it so much. So basically what I'm doing now is I've got a half ounce huggy jig with a live bait on it, and I'm marking fish, and I'm right on that ledge and I'm getting hit. I can tell it's snapper. So what I did is I got set up between those 2 points perfectly, and there's fish shown on the bottom. The tide is not moving at all. It's pretty dead, which I thought it would be. So what I might do is even try to throw down some cut bait, see if I can get them stirred up or not. Oh, come on. Well, I moved to a different spot. The bite just kind of shut down at that spot. It was weird. So I moved here, caught one gag already, and just lost that fish. So we'll see what happens. I caught the gag on a live bait, but then I had that fish on a cut bait. I mean, as soon as it hit the bottom, he was on it. I'm using very light leader, very light jig, half ounce huggy jig, and using cut bait. So what I'm trying to do right now is get them all fired up, and once I get them fired up, I'll send down a live bait down there, see if we can't get a bigger one. But that one was immediate. As soon as it got to the bottom, he was on it. Now the tide is not running very fast, so I like to downsize. I always talk about this. Downsizing your line, not your line, but your gear. 10-pound braided line, 20-pound leader, half ounce huggy. I might even go to a slacker just to see, but because the tide is extremely slow. Matter of fact, I'm going to try that now and see what happens. So what I'm doing is I'm using the slacker jig, and I'm lifting up 7'6". Every 2 poles is 15 feet. I'm sitting in 45 feet of water. So this is number 2, so that's 15 feet. 3, so that's 22.5 feet. Here's 4. And then what I'll do is I'll start feeding it by hand, because I want to feel, because sometimes you won't see it, you'll just feel it. You want to see it, you hopefully they take off with it. Yep, like that. Oh, son of. So the slacker's working. Okay, we're gonna try this again. See what happens. So 1 pull, 2 pull. So I'm at 15 feet. 3 pull, 22 and a half feet. 4th pull, that's 30 feet. And then I start feeding it by hand. And it wasn't long after I started feeding it by hand is when he grabbed it. So hopefully they'll do the same thing. And it won't get to the bottom. I don't know how I broke off on that one. This feeding it by hand, if they bump it and then don't take off with it, then I can feel it by hand. Yep, very easy. It's acting more like a snapper. Nope, small grouper. But there you go, that's the slacker. If the tide is slow, you definitely want to utilize, the lighter you can go, the better off you are. And yes, you'll get broken off like I just got broken off in the fish before, but as you saw, boom, I got another hit.